Imagine this. You're in one of the most remote regions of Russia, the Ural Mountains. It's minus 30 degrees Celsius. You're with a group of friends, all experienced mountaineers. Suddenly, in the middle of the night, something happens. Something so terrifying that you don't even unzip your tent. You cut the fabric from the inside and run barefoot into the snow. What would make you prefer to die of frostbite rather than stay inside the very thing that's protecting you? This is the Dyatlov Pass incident. If you like a good mystery, you've probably heard the basics. But today, we're not just talking about what everyone already knows. We're talking about new evidence, the Dyatlov 2.0, and the theories that modern science is finally using to try and explain the unexplainable. Grab your coffee, turn off the lights, and let's dive into why, 65 years later, this case still keeps so many people up at night. For those who don't remember, back in 1959, 9 university students vanished. When rescuers finally found their campsite, the scene looked like something straight out of a horror movie. The tent was ripped open from the inside. The bodies were found scattered across the forest, hundreds of meters away. Some were only wearing their underwear in the freezing cold. Others had devastating internal fractures, like they'd been hit by something incredibly heavy, but without a single external bruise or any sign of a struggle. And then there's the detail that always boggles people's minds. 2 of the students were missing their eyes, and 1 was missing her tongue. For decades, people came up with every theory imaginable. A Yeti attack, aliens, secret Soviet missile tests, even that the local Mansi people, indigenous to the area, had attacked the group for trespassing. But nothing ever fit perfectly. If it was a human attack, where were all the extra footprints in the snow? If it was a missile, why wasn't there widespread radiation? This is where the version 2.0 of the mystery comes in. Recently, a team of Swiss and Russian researchers decided to shed new light on the case using Disney animation technology. Yes, you heard that right. They used the same impact modeling software from the movie Frozen to simulate exactly what could have happened on that treacherous slope. Their new official theory is something called a slab avalanche. Now, wait. This isn't the kind of avalanche you see in movies that just buries everything in a wall of snow. A slab avalanche is when a heavy, dense, compact block of snow breaks off and slides down. In this scenario, it would have slid right over the tent while the hikers were sleeping inside. This could explain the crushed ribs and fractured skulls without any external marks. The force would have been immense, but distributed, like being squeezed by a giant press. It sounds plausible, right? It explains some of the most puzzling physical injuries. But here's the problem. If it was just a slab of snow, why did they flee in such a state of absolute terror? Why didn't they try to dig out their gear, their boots, their coats? They were experienced hikers. They knew that running into a blizzard, unprepared, was a death sentence. Something else must have happened. This is where science starts to stumble, and the mystery takes a much darker turn. If a slab avalanche was the trigger, it doesn't explain everything. Why did some of the hikers' clothing have strange, localized levels of radiation? And what about the glowing orange lights that other independent hiking groups reported seeing in the sky on that very same night, in that same region? There's one theory that I find both fascinating and absolutely terrifying: infrasound. The specific shape of the mountain, Kholat Syakhl, which by the way translates to dead mountain in the local Mansi language, might have created a rare natural phenomenon. When the wind hits the peaks at a certain speed and angle, it can generate powerful, low-frequency sound waves. This is infrasound. Humans can't consciously hear it, but our bodies feel it. Studies have shown that exposure to infrasound can cause intense, unexplainable panic attacks, nausea, shortness of breath, and an overwhelming sense of dread and impending doom. Now, imagine that scenario. You're asleep in your tent. The wind starts to howl, but it's not just a normal howl. It's creating a silent frequency that directly messes with your brain. You wake up in a state of pure, primal terror, thinking the world is literally ending around you. You don't think, you just react. You cut open the tent. You run blindly into the pitch-black, freezing wilderness. In the chaos and disorientation, the group gets separated. The brutal cold and their injuries do the rest. This theory is compelling because it explains the irrational panic. But what about the missing tongue? The missing eyes? The cold scientific explanation is that small scavengers and natural decomposition took care of that. The soft tissues of the face are often the first to go. But those who have studied the case files and seen the photos understand the state of the bodies was just too bizarre for a simple biological explanation. It almost seemed like something deliberately chose what to take. Recently, the Russian government officially reopened the case, only to close it again, stating definitively, it was an avalanche, case closed. But really, a lot of people believe this is just the most convenient explanation to cover up something else, like tests of thermobaric weapons that were happening in the area during the Cold War. An explosion from such a weapon could cause the internal injuries and the panic, but the government would never admit to it. The truth is, the Dyatlov Pass incident has become a symbol that sometimes nature or something that lives within it can simply decide that you shouldn't come back home. And the worst part is, it can do so in a way that we may never, ever be able to prove. So what do you think? Has science finally explained it all with a snow theory and a Disney movie? Or do you feel like there's something much darker still hidden in those Russian mountains? Leave your theory in the comments below. If you've made it this far, you're one of the few who aren't afraid to face the unknown. Did you enjoy this dive into the dark side of history? Then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. In the next video, we'll talk about the secret Vatican archives. What is hidden in the kilometers of underground shelves? See you next time.